I want to say something about patterns involved in me with this case. First of all, I discovered with my son, because I'll snap off on him, and then usually right after I snap off on him, I'll have an epiphany, a discovery. Something that needed to be talked about or needed to be linked that maybe people didn't realize or I didn't realize was involved. Like, was it yesterday or the day before I snapped off on Alvin? Because every morning I was getting up, and the second I was getting up, he was on his phone. And for like a week that had gone on, and I'm like, that's not normal. So I snapped off on him. What are you helping people? Jeez. You never get up at this time. Then, like a half an hour later, poof, there it was. I started remembering certain things that are connected to this case involving my mom, my aunt, my grandma. That's number one. That's huge. So this is why I keep telling people, if I'm wrong, please forgive me, because I will look at something and be like, poof, that's got to be connected. And then once I further discover it, no, it's not. So we're all on the same page. That's kind of what detectives do anyway. I'm not really a detective, but that's pretty much how they solve things, is you discover something and then you confront it and find out if it's the truth or false. Like yesterday with Lot 8. I remembered that the girl had us show the phones when they first got here. And so it made me think, because there's people hacking me all over the place. So it made me think, well, maybe this is something that's connected, because I know that these guys next door are related to Betty. I don't mean them any harm. If they haven't done anything, I apologize. And I let everybody know that. But when you're trying to figure out who did what, you have to do things like that in order to get people to do stuff that's out of their norm. I don't mean any harm, and I'm going to tell you, I love the neighbors next door. They're wonderful, beautiful people. I've never had a problem with them. It's just I remember that with the phone, and I'm sitting here going, my Lord, somebody is hacking me, and it's within a close proximity. They won't stop. And I don't know if they're doing it to provoke me and to irritate me to get me to remember, or if they're doing it because they're part of the problem that I'm trying to solve. So please bear with me. Then I've got the situation yesterday with this Darlene. She, I believe, is from my church. And I don't know if she's connected to the girl that I took the dog from. I believe it's Darlene and Lucas. That situation happened in 2006. So we're all on the same page. And then I had the situation with this Steve at the Skyline Motel, when it was called Skyline. They've changed the name of it now. Where he tried to holler at me, and he was just a friend. Yes, he did leave his keys in my room, and I lied about that. I don't know why. I didn't need the keys, and I wasn't going to use them for anything. I wish I hadn't have now, because look what Mr. Carpenter did. He robbed the next door neighbors. And they too were very nice people. It hurt me because Pank threatened to kill me if I told. So I left it alone. I knew that in the end he was going to get told on. I believe he lied, and he tried to cover stuff up, and it backfired on him. Excuse me. But that's my purpose. This is a process for me, and I want them to find who did this to my mom, my grandma, and my aunt. I also want to see the people go to jail, like Robbie and Betty, who participated. And so I'm concerned as to whether or not they had something to do with my mother's death. I don't know if the 3 deaths are connected or if they're not. But if they're not, that's even more relevant to me, because it tells me I have more work to do. I really, really desire getting this resolved so that we can safely move forward. I don't like the idea that somebody's running around killing my family. And who could be next? People have to, I ask you to please understand that. I'm not trying to lash out or be angry at anybody. I'm trying to figure out who did this so that I can resolve it. I want my daughters to come home. And the sooner I can do that, the better. I love my kids to death, and it breaks my heart that we're stuck in this situation. I blamed Rich for a long time because I felt like he could have done something more about the situation surrounding what happened in Bremerton, Washington. I understand that there are times that I did things that they thought were crazy or outlandish, and even they didn't understand. But it was just me being me, trying to get people that were doing bad to others revealed so that they could stop. My purpose is to make people stop victimizing. It's not what people think. I love everybody, and I forgive everybody, and I pray that everybody who sees what's going on has an understanding. Time after time after time, I get people telling me, oh, nobody cares about you. Why don't you just shut up? And all this and that. And people get really angry at me. So if you feel that way, unfriend me or unsubscribe. You don't have to stay on my pages. Stop watching. This is heartbreaking for me, but I feel like I have to in order to get this to the end so that we can have justice. I called treason, and my call was good. I love the police, and I back them in any way that I possibly can. It is my pleasure to do everything that I can to help make a more positive tone for law enforcement with regards to the public. I know and understand that not everybody's perfect, and that the police, too, have corruption inside of them. That's not my purpose. My purpose here with the law enforcement is to let people know that that's where it starts, and not all of them are bad. When last year occurred and they started hollering defund the police and started telling people to attack law enforcement, it devastated me because most of the law enforcement I know to be family and related. Not all of them, just a lot of them. And so it hurt me deeply to see that. My purpose is to make people stop hurting each other. It's not just to stop hurting law enforcement. It's to make people stop hurting everyone. I don't want anyone to be a victim, not just law enforcement. So that you have a better understanding, that is my purpose. With God's love. God bless America. Have a blessed day. In fact, the badge.